I agree that the best things in life aren't things, but things have a way of like a deep way, a tactile, I can't even explain it to an extent, but they have a deep way of holding on to the stories of the best things in life. That's the reason why they matter.
Hi, and welcome to Beyond Empty Nest. I'm your host, Jody Silverman, speaker, mentor, and Chief Dare Officer at Moms Who Dare. Every Thursday, I'll share stories of midlife transformation, happiness tips, and dare you to see the opportunities waiting for you so that you can make this next chapter even better than the last. If you're ready to dare, I'm ready to dare with you. Let's get into today's episode. So here's a question. Do you have things in your home that when you look at them, you're transported to another time, a distant memory? Does it make you smile? As our nests become empty and we enter midlife, there's a lot of talk about downsizing and decluttering. And although there are many benefits to simplifying our lives by getting rid of stuff, there's also another perspective to keep in mind. That perspective is to have things around you that matter. The things that bring back those happy memories of either times gone by or about loved ones no longer here on earth with us. My husband and I have been slowly purging our home and stuff that are our home from stuff that we like no longer need or want in our lives, all while holding on to those things that truly do matter to us. So what are the things around you that matter? Well, today you're in for a treat because my guest, Martie McNabb, is going to help shine a light on just that answer to that question. She's going to take us deeper into understanding why things matter and so much more. But first, a little bit about Martie. Martie sold her apartment in Brooklyn over 6 years ago and hit the road in her 21-foot camper van named Brooklyn to host story sharing gatherings and interactive art/history exhibitions for individuals, families, and organizations all over the country. She's on a mission to build deeper connections, community, and legacy through the stories of the things that matter. She's been written about in the Wall Street Journal and featured in 3 books. And today, she's here on Beyond Empty Nest to talk more about things that matter. Welcome, Martie.
Thank you so much, Jody. It's a pleasure to join you and have this opportunity to connect more with you and your audience.
Yeah, I'm excited to share this because it's just looking, and for those of you that are listening on a traditional podcast, I would invite you to head over to jodysilverman.com/podcast and look at the video because Martie's background, it makes you smile. For me, it just brings back happy memories of childhood and fun and play. And when I met you, Martie, I knew we have to talk about this on Beyond Empty Nest. But before we do dive into the topic, which is things that matter, God, first of all, hitting the road in a 20-foot camper van and you named it Brooklyn. Talk about daring, because daring is our platform here. But share a little of the backstory about how you arrived to create this idea and actually a business out of what you call show and tell and things that matter.
Yes. So I lived in New York City for 28 years. Before, like you had mentioned, I sold my place and bought my camper van, Brooklyn. And the backstory to doing show and tells and leading story sharing gatherings about things that we surround ourselves, adorn ourselves, hold on to, all came from actually my first business, which is called Memories Out of the Box. Which Memories Out of the Box is kind of on hold because it's kind of hard to do it as a digital nomad, living part-time in Albuquerque with my wife and mother-in-law and part-time in Vermont with my mom. So that's been on hold, but I did that business for 30 years. And the idea was that we collect a lot of stuff and or inherit. Obviously, photos are a big part of the things that we keep. Um, and unfortunately, they often get left in a box, in a shoebox, in a suitcase, in a storage unit, in the attic, in the basement, just boxes and boxes and boxes of basically the souvenirs of our lives, our travels, right? And so that over 30 years ago, I was just like, oh my God, why do we do this? And why, these aren't meant to be put away in boxes. These are supposed to be relished and like you were talking about before, memories brought out and stories told and connections built. So I started that business over 30 years ago called Memories Out of the Box, where I actually help people get all these things organized, curated, and create visual narratives from them, an end product of a visual narrative in different forms. But needless to say, 35 years ago, there weren't too many people doing what I did. So I've always been, like you said, dare on. I've always been sort of like trying, entering new ground on that. And it was exciting, but it was very difficult to get the word out. And I knew that it was word of mouth. I mean, I was a fairly successful business owner for something so unique and unusual, but it was hard. And so I was like, okay, it's word of mouth, but I desperately need more mouths because it is not it's not an impulse buy. The work that I do is very time consuming. I wish I could wiggle my nose and get everything organized and together and curated quickly, but it didn't happen that way. So I knew it was a long sales cycle and I knew that it was word of mouth. So I was like, what can I do here? And that's when I had a good friend who had a bar in Prospect Heights, Brooklyn, where I lived. And he said I was welcome because he had music things, but they went on late at night. Like they didn't start until 9 or 10. So he's like, you can use my back room and host these story sharing gatherings called, and that's how Show and Tales. Well, actually it started as Show and Tell, and then Show and Tales started from the back room of Branded Saloon in Prospect Heights.
And you know what?
I love 12 years ago.
12 years. And what I love about that is, in order for you to have had him offer you the back room, you had to have talked about it and shared. And that's about, I have a fellow, she's not a coach, but she's a public speaker and she's a community builder. Her name is Cheldon. She's been a guest here. And her mantra is scream your dream. And it's about daring, tell everybody what you're thinking about your dreams. And because when you do, every time I share a new idea or a dream that I've been keeping secret, somehow the universe brings that person or that opportunity right in front of me and unlocks that door. And that's the only way you could have had that opportunity, is that you shared it. So I love there's so much daring going on in there. So I love that. There it is. It's the quickest way to fulfillment. It's the quickest way to discovering a new purpose and a mission and making a difference. So love your story.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. Like I love the work that I did with Memories Out of the Box. And I have colleagues now because there are a lot of people doing this work, and the photo managers is one, and people who are personal historians. So there's people that are doing this work of what I used to do. But I refer people to that, but I never ended up, I never saw that this was going to lead me to creating community building, like you said, and connection building and deeper connections to people's own roots through the things that they, their personal history, and then to one another. Like I didn't know I was going to be on this road, but like you said, I just kept on walking down the path.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. One step, one step, one step, and all of a sudden, oh my God, look where I am. Who knew? I love it. All right, so things that matter. So Martie, tell our audience why things matter, because there is a lot of noise out there, and it's all about declutter, 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 purge, 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 minimalistic. And there's a point to decluttering. And yet we don't hear this side of it. So why do things matter?
Yeah. So, well, you did it such a beautiful job in the beginning, in the intro of this, Jody. You get it. So, um, I agree that the best things in life aren't things, but things have a way of, like, a deep way, a tactile, I can't even explain it to an extent, but they have a deep way of holding on to the stories of the best things in life. That's the reason why they matter.
Yeah.
You know, your daughter's dress that actually you wore when you were a child, that then you had your own daughter, and you have a picture of yourself in that dress, and then you have your daughter's picture with her in that dress. And you're like, we know our lovely friend Sky Bergman, lives well lived, the wooden spoon, it's like as simple as a wooden spoon, but it was the wooden spoon that her grandmother used, right? And her
Yeah.
grandmother and her shared this experience in the kitchen. And, in a lot of ways, Sky ends up talking about that spoon is sort of like, kind of the touch point for all the work that she's done since then. So that's I'm doing my own, like, my life in 30 things experience. And it's like, I have this plastic rock that I got that, said something about bugging around. It was plastic. It had, it was glow in the dark, and, it had little bugs on it. And I gotten it from when I taught high school biology in New York City public schools. This one woman, young woman, I had run for the first time a experiment on a genetics experiment, and it was on fruit flies. And so it was quite a complicated thing, because we needed to do male and female, so we had to knock them out but not kill them, and all this sort of other stuff.
Trust you
Anyway,
on that one.
she ended up giving me this thing, just, it was just a lovely memento of this kind of struggling experience for me, but that it brought joy and connection and laughter and all of that. So this is why things matter, is because of the stories. It's the stories that are there, that are attached to them, weaved in the fabric, on the skin. It's like things that people passed away, and you hold on
Yes.
to them. It's like the essence of that person is still kind of, they touch
Yes.
that same
Yes.
object. They're connect, right? So that's why things matter. It's not,
All those reasons, the
yeah,
transport back, the
those
remember,
reasons.
the smile. It's interesting as you say that, a thing popped up in my head. So my mother-in-law was known to always have peanut M&Ms in her apartment in this glass jar, a bowl. And she had a couple of the glass bowls. I mean, and I was known to come and eat the whole bowl at one time. So I said to her, I love visiting you, but I gotta stop. But when she passed, my nephew took one bowl and I took the other. And every holiday dinner, the bowl is out with peanut M&Ms in it. Things matter because of what you said, the essence of the person. I feel like her presence is there. Like, I always like smile up when I fill it with the M&Ms, and it transports you back to like such a good memory, whether it's a funny memory. That's why things matter. Things do
Yes.
matter. That's why if you're somebody who's like, why can't I get rid of my stuff? And have grace, give yourself grace, because things, I am not attached to a lot of things. I can easily get rid of things and have, like, just take a little smidgen of something, and that's it. But give yourself grace, because this is why you can't get rid of things. And so you get somebody to help you, to be with you, so that make sure that you purge what you need to purge, but you hold on to what matters. And when I said at the beginning that my husband and I are doing a great job, and we're doing it over years, we're not leaving our house yet. We do big purge, like once a year. And every time we go down, we're like, why didn't we get rid of that? I wasn't ready to get rid of it. I still wanted that memory. Now I'm okay. I can move on. But I love that. That's my so it's interesting. Fun fact for our audience: when a guest is invited to be part of our show, I ask them to share. What are like three talking points you want to cover? We never script it out. This is all unscripted. We just go with it, but it helps us stay. Not end up 2 hours into a conversation, which I could easily do. And it's interesting. One of the things you said in your talking points was, and I'm going to read it word for word. You wrote things, stuff, junk, and crap. My kids won't want mine. So and it's true. And I'm going to tell you, when I read that, I'm like, you know what? My kids don't want their stuff, their memories that I'm holding on to. The kindergarten book of the collection of all their best writing samples. They don't want that. But what did you have in mind when you wrote things, stuff, junk, and crap? My kids won't want mine.
Yes, yeah. So that was one of the topics that I speak on when I'm invited to speak at places. And it basically refers to what you spoke about too, as far as the big pressure. And you're also saying, encouraging your audience to have grace, right? So even Marie Kondo, now that she's a mom, things have changed. Right. And you'll notice that in her one of her first books, she's like, don't touch the sentimental items until the very end, right?
Yes. Yes.
And she admits that she was a little bit, kind of hard-headed before she became a mom as well. So the whole point of things, stuff, junk, and crap is like these are all the words that we use to discuss our stuff, right? And I absolutely love George Carlin and Jerry Seinfeld's little snippets about stuff, and
Yeah.
garage is is only one letter different than garbage,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, I remember that. Okay.
you know and so but the thing is that, like you said, there is a lot to be said about non-sentimental things in terms of organizing or purging and letting go of them. But it's but the critical thing that I believe happens when it says your kids don't want it is that if it's just things, it's just stuff, it's just junk or crap, that where there's no, like, and we're talking photographs too,
Right.
where
Yeah.
there's no information, there's no story, you haven't spent the time to organize and curate it, you have not spent the time sharing the stories of why these things matter, then they are just things, stuff, junk, and crap.
I love that.
And your children won't want that. What I keep on encouraging people is that you can always share your stories and you can always keep your stories. My friend Matt Paxton wrote a book, keep the memories, lose the stuff.
Oh.
And so it's the point is that you can let go of things if it's the time, right? No,
Yep.
give
Yep.
there's grace.
Yeah.
And of course, it's different. Like you said, you've got time. You and your husband have time. There's other people who don't have as much time. Somebody passes away, their parent, their whatever, and they have to go in. They've got to move them out.
Yeah.
It's a big thing, and it's super hard. But I encourage people to take this opportunity now to make sure that you share. And it's not everything that you have to share stories about, but think about the things you surround yourself with, you adorn yourself with. These are the things that you keep, the things that matter, and things that you'll leave behind. And just make sure people know, your loved ones know the story.
I love that. So when you ask the question, what things will tell you your life story, is that also part of the whole process, or what? Yeah, the process of what we're
Yeah,
talking about here. Like to
yeah.
look at something and ask yourself, is there part of my life story in there? Is there a story? Is there an essence to it?
Yeah, yeah. So I personally am not I'm not comfortable or joyful when it comes to writing, putting things in writing.
Yeah, me neither.
So, the whole encouragement, in terms of, especially, as we age, and then also when we're, pursuing a career, the whole encouragement to write a book, write your memoir. For me, that's just horrifying, plus, just like with Memories Out of the Box, and these next things, my Your Life in 30 Things projects and books, is that usually like a 200 word or 200 page memoir is only going to be read once. Your
Mhm.
children may read it once, and then it goes up on the shelf and it collects dust.
Okay.
Whereas if you end up, this is my new thing, if you end up picking 30 things that would tell your life story, like a 30 thing memoir is what I call it, and you have some beautiful photographs, because that's another way you can keep things without keeping the things, is you have a
Yeah.
beautiful photograph of the object, and then you have the story, you tell it on video, you keep it, you put it up. Anybody can have a YouTube channel at this point.
Yeah.
Anybody can, right? And so it can be private. You can have it unlisted, so nobody but who you want to see it can see it, and share the stories of those 30 things. And I bet you people would learn, even your family, your own family, your best friends, would learn so much about you through this mini memoir of the things that matter.
I love that. And that's what you're doing right now for yourself.
Yes. Yep. I'm in the process. It's not as far along as I'd like, because, as you know, we had to postpone this because I got sick. So I'm not as far along, but it's going to be called Martifacts, and it's my life.
You're good with the play on words here. I'm calling you the next time I need to play on words. You and I have a friend, her name is Beth Allen. Her too. She comes up
Yeah,
with play on words. You two are really good at that. Martha.
that's Martifacts. Yeah, I'm good with certain things. Like I said, I'm not great with the writing thing, but
You don't
I
have to
have,
be great at all things.
right.
Just
I've got,
anything.
right.
You
Exactly.
surround
Exactly.
yourself with the great writer to help you.
And
Like if
and
I
that's
ever wrote a book, I'd hire a ghostwriter.
and that's why I'm so excited about where we'll be in a week and a half, because that's where I'm hoping to forge these relationships and do things that, and I know that we even spoke about, doing something together as well with your
Oh yeah.
family.
Oh yeah. Oh no, no, I got that. That's right. Oh, we'll talk about that. We have to tell me what I need to do. I forgot. We'll bring that back. And maybe we'll do a follow-up episode on how the whole process went. That would be fun.
Ooh, that
Okay.
would be wonderful.
When we're finished, this episode, you and I'll talk. All right.
Yes.
So we learned why things matter. I love the whole thing about the things, stuff, junk and crap. And what things will tell your life story. And as such, you have given us a resource, a link below in the show notes. You created a play sheet called Your Life in 30 Things.
Yep.
So when somebody downloads that, what will they get?
So realistically, it's simply a sheet that has, I've got 25 different themes for show and tales right now.
Okay.
Tails, paws, beaks, and claws, love letters, lockets, and valentines, scars, tats, and piercings, artists, inspiration, and tools. My favorite thing, the kitchen edition, travel. So I have just these little outlined around, and there's literally just lines, 30 lines. Yeah, because I tried it out with friends, and they started freaking out because they were like, so number one is supposed to be the most important thing. And keep in mind, everyone, that everything has a story, and
Yeah.
it does not have to be an epic story.
Oh,
And it's not like, we spoke about this before. My friend Bill Shapiro, he and his partner Naomi Wax ended up asking people for their book, What We Keep, what thing brings you joy, magic, and meaning?
oh,
And it's a gorgeous book, beautifully photographed. It's what I'm basing my life in 30 things on, beautifully photographed. And it's literally, what they found is that no one picked an like an heirloom. Nobody picked anything that was of monetary value. They said that your hearts are not accountants. So these do not have to be like so special. It's just the things that you surround yourself with, right? So that's the sheet. And this is legacy. This is legacy work, deep legacy work, because realistically, Jody, this is like our homes are our personal museums.
Yeah.
What's on our bookshelves, what's on our walls, what's on our mantles. These are things that we surround ourselves with that have some kind of story.
Absolutely. Every room, I have at least something that I could tell somebody what a story is. And I love that you said that. So thank you. That not everything has to have an epic story behind it. Just like people get caught when I say, well, what's a dare? Okay, you don't have to dare to jump out of an airplane. Like a dare.
No.
A dare could be simply the next time it rains, put on your boots and go jump in the rain puddle. It could be a dare. So I love that you said it doesn't have to be epic. We put so much pressure on ourselves. We get stuck thinking. So I love that. So download the play sheet, and it's called Your Life in 30 Things, and start your legacy.
Yes.
Start building your legacy list. And then we have a great dare, which I have to say, I'm going to pause for a second. If you have not guessed what the dare is going to be, I am going to say then you clearly are not paying attention. I'm only kidding. So your dare is to host. Well, I'm going to let you tell it.
Your dare is to host your own show and tell with your friends, your colleagues, your family, your church, your synagogue, your group, any group that you gather. Ask them to bring in something that would tell a little bit about their personal history, their life story.
And I'm telling you, I did it once without calling a show and tell, but I'm calling a show and tell for the Moms Who Double Dare membership, which there's also a link for you all to check out, the Moms Who Double Dare membership below, but we're doing a show and tell. And because when I didn't realize it on a conscious level, when I did it at the beginning of the year in January, we have we get together twice a month virtually because the membership has women from all over. I said, bring something that you want to talk about. Bring something you got on vacation, something that has a story behind it. And I didn't know, like you do it so intentionally. And it was the best connection. That's icebreakers, but it was the best connection. We learned so much about each other. So this does work. This is powerful stuff, things that matter, show and tell. But you're going to dare to host a show and tell at your next whatever. If you go out to dinner or it doesn't have to be a major thing. You can make it fun though if you want. You can make it a fun summer thing. If you're going to take a summer vacation at the beach, everybody brings something. And when you're sitting around the beach at 4 or 5 o'clock at night, which is the perfect time on the beach, you have a little show and tell.
Yes.
And take pictures and
yes.
Share it with Martie, share it with me. You can always come to the Moms Who Dare Facebook group, share it in there. And if you share a show and tell or an item that's favorite, I'm going to make sure Martie sees it. I'm going to share it with her. And, we want to hear, from you. So Martie, this was a great conversation to have. I love what you do. Love everything. I'm going to love working with you. And, when we sign off, stick around because you and I have to have this meeting after the meeting here.
Yes, of course.
Is there anything else you want to, is there anything you need to say that you have not said that you're feeling called to say before I wrap this up?
No, just the only thing is that I encourage your listeners to realize that every day you're living history, every day. And the things you surround yourself with do matter because of the memories that get attached to them. And so, like you said, give yourself grace. You don't want to let something go. You don't have to. Or if you're urged to do it or feel called to do it, take a photograph. But the most important thing, share the stories.
Love that. Share the stories. All right, everybody. You know what I'm going to say? The purpose of me starting this podcast and my mission is that you get something, some tips, some strategy, some light bulb, aha moment, some clarity, whatever it is for you, some direction in this midlife, wherever you are in your chapter of empty nester midlife, from every single episode from every single guest. So what was it from this episode? Because there's a lot in here. So feel free to listen to it again. Share it with your friends. Share it with your book club people. Share it with your family and say, this is what we're going to do. Share the episode. Let them watch it. Let them understand it. You don't have to articulate it, but let us know, what is it? Leave us a review. Share in the Moms Who Dare Facebook group. Shoot me an email. However you do it, find me on Facebook or Instagram, but I want to hear from you how this episode mattered in helping you recognize and appreciate the things that matter around you and in your life. I don't even know where it came from. But anyway, all right, don't forget that next week, there will be another new episode of Beyond Empty Nest. I so appreciate you all being part of our audience and our community. And as I always say, dare on.
Dare on.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond Empty Nest. For detailed show notes and more information, be sure to visit jodysilverman.com. Have you heard of the Double Darers? Well, we're a community of moms and midlife women blending virtual and in-person interactions for connection, support, and exciting experiences. From Mommy and Me classes to soccer sidelines, moms have always found strength in community. And as we navigate the empty nest and other midlife transitions, having that go-to safe space and other women to lean on is a must. Ladies, this is not the chapter to do it alone. Our drama-free group echoes the sentiment of the Cheers theme song, a place where everybody knows your name and our troubles are all the same. If you've been seeking connection and have a desire to figure out who you are and what your purpose is now, then Moms Who Double Dare is the perfect fit for you. Only through the link in our show notes below can you explore and enjoy the first month at half off. Plus, with no contracts, there's zero risk involved. Join us today and get started on your journey of self-discovery, surrounded by new friends who understand and get you. You've sent your kids off to brave new experiences, meet new people, and discover who they get to be. Now, it's your turn. It's your turn to embrace this new adventure. If you're ready to dare on, I'm here to lead the way. Let's embark on this exciting journey together. Click the link below, and as I always say, dare on.